You won't be disappointed. This is so easy. And it's so delicious. It just fills the soul. You eat this, you will go to bed happy. Well, you'll sleep well. All right, this is a beef for stew mix. This is 2 pounds. We want to get this trimmed up. Cut out anything you don't want. I find that using the stew cut is a little bit cheaper than using sirloin. We're gonna simmer this for 30 minutes to an hour anyways, so it'll get nice and tender. Now, a general rule of thumb I have, if it doesn't look like you want to eat it, throw it out. Beef stroganoff is a Russian dish that got popular in the United States in the 1950s and 60s. If you do use ground beef, just make sure that it's drained really well. You don't want all that excess fat. This is really a simple dish with like a creamy sauce, and I serve it with egg noodles. You could absolutely serve this over rice, mashed potatoes, anything. Get creative with it. This is definitely a colder weather dish. I don't know that I would really want this in the hot summer days. It would still taste fantastic. This just seems more of like a fall or a winter dish to me. Any type of silver skin or chewy stuff, just throw it aside. You can save it for making your own beef broth. Sometimes I go live on my YouTube channel and I often get the question, what's your favorite dish? This is in my top 10 for sure. This recipe is really simple. Essentially, it's beef and onions simmered in a consommé with sour cream, Worcestershire, salt, pepper. My mom used to make this for me when I was growing up. This was kind of a special, you know, maybe birthday dinner or something like that. Ooh yeah, some of these are super tough. Just get rid of it, it's not worth it. Okay, we got all of our beef cut up. Now we're gonna salt, pepper, and lightly dredge this in flour. Fresh cracked pepper and some salt. I'd say that's close to about a half a tablespoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of black pepper. We're gonna add in a little bit of flour and get this tossed around. So we're gonna coat this lightly in a little bit of flour. This is gonna help brown the meat and add a level of flavor that'll be really good. It's also gonna help thicken the sauce just a tiny bit. All right, that's what you want your meat to look like, a little bit velvety. We're gonna set this aside and get everything else prepped. I'm gonna grate up a half a white onion. I really like using a cheese grater for onion. It gets it into small pieces so you still get all the flavor without the big chunks. This sauce tends to be kind of smooth and you wouldn't want it chunky with onions in it. Unless you really like onions and you're into that. We don't onion shame here. All right, we got a pot over medium-high heat and we're gonna add some canola oil. We wanna kind of sear the steak and get brown bits on it. We're not trying to cook it all the way through. We're gonna simmer this for about an hour. All right, let's get half our steak put in here. We want this to get really crispy on all sides, so we'll let it sit here. Don't touch it for just a few minutes. All right, once the steak gets brown like that, we're gonna toss it all around. Oops. Remember, we're not trying to cook this all the way through right now. We're just trying to get it nice and brown and crispy. Just over here making a mess. Don't mind me. All right, we're gonna remove this. Back on the heat. Gonna add a little bit more canola oil and do it to our second half. All right, our second batch of steak is done. Everything in the bottom of this pan is called fond. It's all the brown, crispy bits. This is what we want. This is where a lot of flavor is here. We're gonna add our grated onion. I've moved the heat to medium. We wanna cook this for about 1 minute and scrape the fond off the bottom. I'm telling you, the hard part's over. Everything else, super easy. All right, the onions have been cooking for about 1 minute. We're gonna add 1 can of beef consommé. Beef consommé is like regular beef stock, just a lot more intense and just richer in flavor. It works perfect with this. All right, now that we got our beef consommé and onion mix in here, we're gonna put all the steak back in. I'm gonna add in about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. All right, now this is boiling. Put the lid on, put it on simmer, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I think I'm gonna give this about 45 minutes. All right, this has been simmering for 45 minutes. I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm just gonna use the rest of this. Close enough. Now we're gonna add 1 cup of sour cream. That's half of this 16-ounce container. Keep this on simmer and mix it until it's all combined. In a second pot over here, I got some water boiling. We're gonna do some egg noodles to serve this on top of. All right, there we go. We've had this simmering for about 10 minutes. It smells fantastic. All right, I boiled up some egg noodles. We're gonna drain these and add them right into the pot. And there you go. Serve it in a bowl. Like I said, you could serve this over rice, mashed potatoes, anything. It's fantastic. And that's how easy it is to make beef stroganoff. Consider a sub. I make stuff like this all the time. Other than using like a sirloin. Sorry, my dog.